Well, in order to understand the macrobiotic diet, you need to understand macrobiotic philosophy. And the philosophy is that all natural organisms are seeking balance. And the scientists would call this balance in our bodies homeostasis. The body is incredibly wise, and it's doing trillions of different things all at the same time in this magical way. The macrobiotic diet is based on choosing foods that support the body's natural balancing mechanisms. When we eat too much animal food, saturated fat, processed food, toxins that come from the animal industry, we become imbalanced. When we eat too much white sugar, refined carbohydrates, alcohol, prescription drugs, we become imbalanced in the other direction. But the foods in the middle are whole grains, not just whole grain bread and whole grain spaghetti, but whole grains themselves, vegetables, a huge variety of vegetables cooked in many different ways, mostly beans and bean products for the protein, sea vegetables from the sea, which deliver good quality minerals that are easily absorbed by the human body. A little bit of fruit, some people eat a little bit of fish, nuts, seeds, natural sweeteners, fermented foods like pickles, sauerkraut, olives, and then non-aromatic teas like decaffeinated or naturally herbal teas. And that keeps people balanced. And when you're balanced, that means your body works at its peak, your immune system is strong, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. You just feel better. Food contribute to world peace. Well, first I think we need to look at why we're not peaceful. And sometimes the reason we're not peaceful is because finite resources are getting used and different people are fighting over resources. That's one way in which human beings can come to blows. But often, it's our internal environment that stresses us out, that makes us irritable, that makes us have hard, judgmental, angry, willful thinking. When I made the transition from eating a lot of meat, I grew up on a lot of meat, to eating a more plant-based diet, I began to soften inside. My mind became crystal clear, and my body became much healthier than it had been before. But my overall energy became softer and more peaceful, and my thinking even became more holistic and connected. I started relating to the humanity in people and not their images or their belief systems or their nationality. So the big teacher of macrobiotics in the United States is a guy named Michio Kushi. He's 86 years old, and he was in Japan during the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He wasn't in those cities, but he was in Japan. And his whole mission in life is what he calls one peaceful world, because he believes from the very cells of his being, he knows from the cells of his being, that by eating natural whole foods, we become more natural, more peaceful, more whole people. And then when we do get into a struggle when a resource is finite, we can possibly find a more evolved solution than just shooting each other. So do I believe that food can contribute to world peace? Absolutely, because food contributes with all the toxins that we take in, with all the extreme foods that we take in. Internally, people are decaying. People aren't healthy anymore. People aren't vital anymore. People aren't happy anymore. We're falling apart inside. So once we stop the war on our own bodies, chances are we're going to have a different approach to the people around us. What is my philosophy of life? Personally, I don't have a philosophy. Because as I've eaten natural foods, for instance, every cell of our body is completely overhauled within 7 years. Every 7 years, we are a new person. So how can I hold my thoughts from 7 or 14 or 21 years ago? They're gone. My philosophy has continued to evolve as I've eaten whole foods. And I trust that nature is actually much wiser, much more powerful, much more benevolent than any thought system that I could borrow or create. So as I continue to eat whole foods, unprocessed natural foods that still contain what we call their chi, that still contain the life force itself, I allow them to crack me open and continually open my mind. But we aren't just minds, we're also hearts, and we're intuition. And I would say the meaning of my life, and this is going to sound all hippie, but the meaning of my life is to love, is to let energy move through me in a gentle and peaceful way in order to nourish other people, in order to step into this magic that we're in. I mean, nature is magic. Nature is trippy. Nature is something that we haven't even begun to understand. Final thoughts. I really love to encourage people to experiment. Every day, day after day after day, no matter what you're eating, you're experimenting with this chemistry set, which is you. And everything you eat has an impact on your body, on your mind, on your feelings. So why not try and experiment with natural foods? Check out how powerful they are. Check out how you feel on them. Check out if what I'm saying is true. Don't believe me just because I'm saying it. So I encourage you, as my final thought, to dive in, play ball, have fun. You have the privilege of living in a human body which is totally connected to the stars, to the sun, to the earth, to the ocean, and to life itself. So dive in, and natural foods are the way to do that. Processed foods that come out of a factory are not going to help you connect. That's not what they're created for or by. It's not what they're created for. So explore natural foods, and it's an adventure that never ends, and it's play that never gets boring. Have fun.